Biden travels to make his debt ceiling argument as the Republicans are impassed. As the fear of default and probable economic catastrophe is just over 3 weeks away, President Joe Biden will take his case for lifting the debt ceiling without conditions on the road to Valhalla, New York, on Wednesday. He hopes to increase public pressure on Congress. The president will meet with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and legislative leaders once more on Friday, following a 1-hour discussion in the Oval Office on Tuesday that served to further cement the months-long deadlock over the debt ceiling. Both sides remained steadfast in their stances. After the discussion, Biden declared that he made it clear to congressional leaders that default is not an option, adding that he is absolutely certain the U.S. could avoid going into default on its debt. The president reiterated his plea for a clear debt limit hike before conversations about the budget and spending framework take place. "I know we have the time. We could do it easily. But do we have the will?" "I didn't see any new movement," McCarthy, who is refusing to increase the debt limit without matching budget cutbacks, said to reporters following the meeting. "I would hope that he would be willing to negotiate for the next 2 weeks so that we could actually solve this problem and prevent pushing America to the edge," the author said. The president will hold an event in Valhalla, which is partly represented by Republican Rep. Mike Lawler, who turned the state's 17th congressional district from blue to red in last year's midterm elections, as he tries to win support in competitive districts amid the ongoing impasse in Washington, D.C. Lawler, one of 18 GOP senators who will attend the event at CUNY Westchester Community College, represents districts that Biden won during the 2020 presidential race. Although each of these members has endorsed McCarthy's strategy, the White House is hoping to increase public pressure on them to avoid default. The president stated on Tuesday that he thinks the nation can avoid default because a resounding majority of members of Congress know it would be a disaster. The president will use his remarks to highlight some of his accomplishments in the economy, such as the creation of 12.7 million jobs, and to warn against threats from MAGA Republicans in Congress to undo this progress by causing the first default in American history unless the Senate and President agree to their harmful cuts to veterans' care, public safety, education, and more. According to authorities, the president's objective in making this tour is in part to explain the effects of a default on Americans, including the threat to 8 million jobs, a recession, and retirement plans for millions. Top White House economists warned last week that a prolonged default lasting 3 months might result in the loss of 8 million jobs and a halving of the stock market. The economists warned that delaying action on the debt ceiling would have serious consequences and result in the loss of 200,000 jobs. The White House and congressional leadership staff are anticipated to begin discussions in advance of Friday's meeting as the president makes his plea on the road. McCarthy has stated that in order to raise the debt ceiling by the next week, Congress will need a general agreement. If the debt ceiling problem is not handled in time, the president has hinted that he would forego his forthcoming overseas trips to Japan and Australia later this month. After his appearance in the Hudson River Valley on Wednesday, Biden will host 2 fundraisers in New York City to raise money for his presidential campaign. They are the first live fundraising events for the president as his reelection campaign gets going.